My name is Karen Smith. I am a fledgling designer who works for a design agency and specializes in wedding dresses. Karen, bring the fabric I specified. Okay. And please order more fabric. Understood. Even though I'm a designer, I'm still doing menial tasks and spend my days sighing as I watch my seniors create dresses. I wish I could make beautiful dresses soon too. But as a newcomer, I don't get much design work yet. I need to become a pro fast. As I pump myself up, a senior next to me chuckles softly. What's so funny? It's just, you're so you. In response to the senior's words, the other seniors around us also start giggling. What do you mean, so me? It means you're working hard. Design needs to be unique, and you're fine just the way you are. The senior says, laughing and gently patting my head. I'm treated like a kid because I'm still new, but the office has a good working environment. However, the path to becoming a designer is still long. It's a challenging profession where, even with talent, finding opportunities to showcase it is difficult. No matter how hard I work, I'm not sure if I'll be rewarded. But I have a compelling reason to become a designer. Won't make the deadline, will I? After finishing work, I return to my apartment and gaze at the mannequin, head tilted. The mannequin is wearing a partially finished dress. Actually, I'm attending a wedding in a few months. The bride is the daughter of a famous bridal company's president and a designer at the company, and I'm making a wedding dress for her. She's an acquaintance who asked me personally to make a custom dress. It's a big wedding in the bridal industry. Naturally, dresses by famous designers are prepared, and she's planning several outfit changes, with my dress being one of them. I feel crushed with nervousness and anxiety at the thought of my unknown dress mixing with famous designers. I wonder if Chloe will like this dress. But when I imagine her wearing it, I can't help but smile. Chloe and I have a special bond. She chose me among many designers to design her dress for such an important occasion, and I want to make her happy no matter what. I'm determined to create a dress that suits Chloe perfectly. But there's another worry on my mind. It's about the designer she's marrying. In our not-so-large industry, both good and bad news spread quickly. And about that designer, despite his good work skills, he's known for being selfish, ignoring clients' requests, always missing deadlines, and being lax about contracts. I've never heard anything good about him. Regarding this marriage, I've heard it was decided after a dinner that was like a matchmaking date, where they liked each other, but rumors suggest it wasn't true love. Instead, it was because Chloe's wealthy parents aggressively pursued his also wealthy parents. All I hear are such stories. Is she really okay, marrying someone like that? Holding pure white lace in my hand, I let out my worries. I just want Chloe to be happy. Though I'm anxious about her unclear future with her partner and the wedding day itself, all I can do is finish this dress. I made the dress, hoping for her happiness, in between work and studying my own designs. Then, on the wedding day, wearing my favorite vintage dress and carrying the finished dress, I head to the bride's room. Wow! It's beautiful. Chloe, in her pure white wedding dress adorned with delicate lace and embroidery, looked at herself in the mirror and seemed truly happy. I'm so glad I asked you to make this. Sorry for making you wait until the last minute. No, it's more than I imagined. Thank you so much. I managed to complete the dress a week before the wedding and rushed to deliver it. Until today, I worried if she would like it, but seeing her spin around and show it off, I knew my efforts paid off. This dress won't look out of place among those designed by famous designers. One of my worries was gone. But the other still remained. I haven't seen the groom around. It's been over an hour since I arrived, and I haven't seen the groom even once. When I asked, Chloe just gave a wry smile. He's running late. What do you mean? The wedding is about to start, and one of the main characters, the groom, is missing. It can't be helped. He's the match my parents chose. Maybe he doesn't care about me. Chloe smiled sadly, and I felt sad realizing those rumors might be true. Even if you owe your parents, you don't have to marry someone you don't love, right? I suddenly spoke up, even though I hadn't asked about her situation before. I thought it was presumptuous of me, but I couldn't keep silent. Hesitantly, I spoke my mind, and Chloe seemed to understand how I felt. She smiled reassuringly. It's okay. I chose this. So, no regrets. I was at a loss for words at Chloe's response. I guess you've heard a lot of rumors, huh? Chloe continued to explain, seeing my silence. This marriage was somewhat like a political arrangement. Her father's bridal company had been underperforming for years, and this marriage was to cover the losses using the groom's family's wealth. It made me wonder if it's really what parents should do. But ultimately, I was the one who decided to marry. So, don't worry. Chloe smiled confidently, and I searched for the right words to say. Just then. Hey. Is Chloe here? The groom suddenly entered the room, without even knocking. He was wearing a tuxedo, but reeked of alcohol. Where have you been until now? Even Chloe, who had been cheerful until then, frowned at his state. Ah, I was celebrating until late last night. Huh? What's with that dress? The design isn't bad, but it looks kinda cheap. Weren't there better dresses? The groom, without any embarrassment, lifted the edge of the dress and commented, laughing. This was designed by Karen here. Don't say rude things. Huh? You're telling me I paid for this tacky dress? I can't believe it. When he realized I was the designer, he glared at me fiercely. Then, looking me up and down, he laughed mockingly at the dress I was wearing. What an old-fashioned dress. You're a designer, aren't you? How can you wear something so tacky? I was speechless at his incredibly rude remarks. Got something to say? If you have a problem, speak up. Apparently, my silence annoyed the groom, and he snapped at me. So, I cleared my throat, ready to respond. This is a vintage dress designed by Julia Smith. Is my grandmother's design that tacky to you? The moment I said that, the groom's face turned pale. Julia Smith, you mean the legendary designer? You're her granddaughter? Yes. My name is Karen Smith. By the way, Chloe's maiden name is also Smith, but you didn't know that, did you? Wait, what? Chloe is from the Smith family? No way. It's true. Karen and I are sisters. You know I was adopted, right? I was sent to my adoptive parents by our grandmother because they couldn't have children of their own. Chloe's calm voice left the groom speechless. Julia Smith, our grandmother, was a world-famous wedding dress designer. Chloe and I were separated when I was 10 and she was 8. We were too young to understand why Chloe had to live away from our family. We begged not to be separated, and Chloe pleaded with our parents to stay. But despite our wishes, our grandmother's decision was final, and we were parted. Before separating, we made a secret promise to each other. To prove the adults who separated us wrong someday. So, I pursued a career in design to become more famous than our grandmother, and Chloe, who was adopted, studied hard to eventually go to college to learn business management under the owner of a bridal company, which was once owned by our grandmother. That's ridiculous. Chloe let out a sigh, as if to drive the point home, looking at the confused groom. You have talent in design, but you lack knowledge. Our grandmother may have retired long ago, but she was a top-class designer in the world. Can't you recognize the dress of such a designer? You can't compensate for a lack of knowledge with talent alone, can you? No, this is. The groom tried to make an excuse, but Chloe, watching him, shook her head in disbelief. I've decided to call off this wedding. What? What are you talking about, Chloe? You insulted my sister and grandmother's dresses. I can't trust someone like you to revive our struggling company. The groom's eyes widened in shock, then he sneered defiantly. You say that, but if you call off the wedding, you'll be the one in trouble, right? Can your company survive without my family's support? He said this as if he had one, but Chloe remained calm and continued. Don't worry about that. If you're not going to be the president, then I will be. I've studied business management for years. It's much better than leaving it to you. Right? I can't see someone who calls Julia Smith's dresses tacky being capable of reviving a bridal company. You think so too, sister? Calling off the wedding with him is the right choice. There are plenty of ways to cover the deficit without marrying him. As we continued talking about calling off the wedding, the groom became visibly panicked. Wait a minute. You can't just call off a wedding on the day of the wedding. Then let's have the wedding and divorce afterward. That should be fine, right? Chloe remained composed, and the groom, pale-faced, covered his face with his hands, slumping in defeat. I couldn't help but think he got what he deserved. The wedding went ahead as planned. The groom apologized to me deeply, still looking pale. Chloe, wearing my dress, walked down the aisle with her head held high. She looked truly beautiful. I wondered if she would be okay. Still, I couldn't help but have these thoughts cross my mind. But seeing her like that, all my worries disappeared. Though I had no real reason, I was convinced she would be just fine. Several months passed. Just as she said in the dressing room, Chloe became the president of the company. Without needing support from that groom's family, the company's deficit seems to be recovering. I thought the divorce would go smoothly, but surprisingly, her marriage with him was still continuing. When my work settled down, Chloe invited me to dinner, and we met at a restaurant. She looked much happier than before her marriage. Even so, I'm surprised you didn't split up. You're still working, right? And he's the main designer? Is the company really okay? It's fine. He's completely changed since then, like a different person. He's studying hard every day now. Maybe my words and my threat to divorce made a difference. While he had his issues, he always had the talent for creating new designs. After our encounter, he seemed to have realized the need for study and effort, and Chloe happily told me he's probably becoming a better designer than before. But are you really happy, marrying someone you don't even like? Well, it's not that I dislike him, you know. I was surprised by her unexpected response, and Chloe looked slightly troubled. To be honest, when my parents suggested marrying him, I felt a bit lucky. I always liked the dresses he designed and recognized his talent. He behaves properly when it counts, but you know his usual attitude? I always thought if he could just fix that part. At the wedding, I was really angry with how he treated you, and I was serious about calling it off. But after that, when I became president, he started studying earnestly and his designs improved rapidly. Thanks to you, we gained another capable designer. I really appreciate it. Hearing Chloe's words, I was convinced that both the company and he were in safe hands. You've always been so strong. It was the same when her adoption was decided. Unlike me, who just cried, it was Chloe who suggested we prove the adults wrong. I can be strong because of the promise I made with you. I can keep going now to fulfill our promise. The dress you made for the wedding was truly beautiful, even more so than grandmother's. Her words made me feel so happy, I almost cried. I wonder if we can surpass grandmother. You're sounding uncharacteristically timid. Now that I'm the president, it's time to make your name famous. Get ready for a busy time ahead. We looked at each other and started laughing. Then, we gently reached for our champagne glasses. Here's to your company and married life. And to you surpassing our grandmother as a designer. Cheers. We toasted each other and finished our dinner. I wondered how we would be the next time we met. Imagining our future, I couldn't help but smile.